Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, June the 25th, 2025. Not too much happened today. Um, there was a couple of scenes that I thought were cute, and they definitely made me smile. And the first one was Rocco and Danny. They have now graduated to work in summers at the Metro Court Pool. Now, you notice they didn't take the usual teenage first job, which is working at the park for Lila's kids. I was surprised. They normally have everybody graduate into that, right? They're working at with the big boys. Geo. I loved it. Geo takes his job so seriously. He has them reporting to him and they're coming. Yes, what do we do? He goes, okay, the first thing you're going to do, Rocco, you're on towels. And Danny, hang on. So he goes and get a picture with some cups and he comes back. You make sure every guest has water in their cup. So it was so cute. They're kind of awkward. Danny or Rocco, I forget which one. I think it was Rocco, dropped a cup. Thank goodness they're plastic. Dropped the cup. Um, Lulu was making him a little nervous because Lulu decides that she's gonna do what every teenager wants. She's gonna show up at his job on the first day and watch the whole shift. Watch him work the whole shift. Rocco. So he comes over to her. She straightens up his shirt, and he's just like, and Danny is looking, and he's with Geo, and he goes, Rocco's so embarrassed at that. And Geo's like, yeah. He goes, but and Danny says, but my mom would do that too. And then he kind of caught himself, and he goes, if she were here. And Geo looked at him. He said, so would my mom. So that was cute. Um, what I want to know, everybody, what's Charlotte doing this summer? Charlotte's not working there at the pool. Charlotte's not working at Lila's kids, right? She could be working at the camp. It's like the girl doesn't exist. And to me, you don't have to show her, but doggone to speak about her like she's there. Lulu should say, because she called Tracy to talk to her at the pool, and Tracy's like, did we have to meet at a public pool? When we have a gorgeous pool on my state, she goes, yes, we did, Tracy. And she's looking back over at Rocco. And Tracy's looking at her. She goes, oh, so you're spying on your kid, huh? She goes, I'm not spying. And Tracy looks at her, yes, you are, right? And Lulu just smiles. Now, for the life of me, everybody, I don't remember the reason Lulu gave Tracy for calling her. I don't remember. Did she even? But one thing's for sure, Tracy never ripped Lulu a new one for doing what she did to Brooklyn and Gio. She never did. And I don't like that. I don't like that. Because she should have, yeah, I didn't say not forgive her or hate her, but she should have definitely ripped her a new one for doing it the way she did, right? So the guys were off work now. They high-fived each other for completing the first a successful day at work. And Gio comes out and he goes, okay, gentlemen. And they're standing at attention. Your shift is over. You had a good first day. You're free to go. And so Rocco says, do you think we could, it's hot and we're off work. Could we take a dip in the pool? And Gio looked at him and said, employees don't swim in the pool. And he goes, but we'll be real quick. He goes, you're in uniform. No. And so Rocco says, what if I accidentally, and he's pushing Danny towards the pool, push Danny into the pool. And then Danny says, and what if as I'm falling in the pool, and he grabs Rocco's shirt, I accidentally pull Rocco in with me? They were cute. And Jill said, no, uh-uh, you can't do that. So then Tracy, you hear this loud whistle, and she goes, boys, come on, I'm gonna give you a ride home. She actually kind of walks towards them, but not up to them because Gio's there. And she's giving Gio space. She didn't walk, and Gio, as she was walking towards them after she whistled, and he looked at and saw it was Tracy, but he saw her talking to Lulu, but he was wondering, uh-oh, she gonna come over here. She just kind of walked a little close. She goes, let's go. I'm gonna give you a ride home. She turned and she walked them there like, okay, walk them on out of there. And Gio was like, oh, okay, like, she didn't try to ambush me. And Lulu smiles at Gio, and he just kind of looks at her, right? He's not snarling or anything. He's just still trying to ponder, Tracy, let it go. She didn't try to push anything. So anyway, that's what we're going to have some interesting scenes at the pool, antics when Rocco and Danny are working. And I think it's going to be too cute. I'm liking the fact that we're seeing this next generation come into the fold. But it's like I said, they're missing the ball with Charlotte. Charlotte should even be working this summer at Bobby's, right? But Charlotte needs to work. So she could stay out of trouble. Lulu spent all day watching her son, but yet it's her daughter the one to get in trouble. Go figure. So Brooklyn meets with Marco. Marco found the original birth certificate, and it says Father N.A. And then he goes 7 months later, this birth certificate was filed, and it said Father Dante Falconeri. And Brooklyn's like, okay, thank you, thank you. She's looking at them both. And Dante walks in. So Brooklyn looks up, she pushes the birth certificates together, she puts them in this file that says Rocco Falconeri on the little tab and folders so you can read what's the contents are. And so she turns it over. And Dante walks in and says, Brooklyn, you got a minute? And she goes, oh, sure, we're just finishing up our meeting. And she looked at Marco and she says, I'll be in touch with you with our next action steps. And he says, okay. So he leaves. And she goes, what's up, Dante? And he says, I came to talk to you about Gio. And she says, okay. And he says, we need to do something. And I think we need to present a united front. We need to work together in order to make some progress with Gio, or he may have even said our son. And so she says, okay, do you have a plan? Because I don't want to push him. We should let Gio come to us. And Dante says, no, I understand that, but he says, Brooklyn, if we don't make any steps, we don't want Gio to think that we don't care or that we don't even care to pursue a relationship with him. He says, and she goes, no, what I'm saying is our son is a 22-year-old man. And he's gonna do what he wants to do. And Dante says, and I understand that. And what I hate is there's so much about Gio I don't know. I feel like I've just lost so much time with him. And so she looked at him and he says something to her, and she says, okay, is this where now you wanna yell at me for not telling you or whatever? And he goes, no, no. He says, I don't, because it's not gonna get us anywhere. Chase got me to see that. And so he said, did Chase tell you what happened? She said, yeah, Anna locked you both in the cell together. Yeah, she did. She goes, Dante, Chase was only honoring my wishes. That was it. Chase wanted to tell you, but he goes, you know what? I'm not even here to talk about that. He says, because I'm not ready to forgive Chase yet, and I'm not ready to forgive you yet. She's like, fair enough. He says, but Gio, on the other hand, we have a son and we got a problem, right? So anyway, Dante shows up at the pool. Now it's starting to get evening. And Lulu's just getting ready to leave. And he walks up to Lulu and he's looking around. And she says, Dante, Rocco's shift is already over. And he goes, oh, okay. All right. He says, I see we both have the same idea. And Lulu's just looking at him. Yep. And Dante just looked at her. And then he sees Gio, across a little bit. And Gio sees him and he's getting ready to turn and walk away. So Dante says, Gio, can I speak to you for a moment? And the camera just showed Gio turning and looking at Dante, you know. So we'll see what that conversation's like tomorrow. Oh, Gio's gonna reject him, absolutely. But I kind of feel Dante is right. Gio might reject, but Gio's gonna know Dante made an effort. Versus, yeah, you sure did care, didn't you? You cared enough that you never tried to reach out to me. See, now I believe reaching out so he'll know I did try to reach out to you, but you rejected me 122 times, because I reached out that many times, right? So, we'll see where that conversation goes. Lucas is talking to Christina at the pool. Christina had Cody. She told Alexis that Elizabeth knows. Alexis goes to GH to talk to Elizabeth. They talk in private. And pretty much Elizabeth tells her what she told Christina, just without the upper hand attitude. And she just told Alexis says, you know, the kindness you're showing, even though my daughter doesn't deserve it. I want to thank you, but I have to ask why. And she said, there are a number of reasons. And she spouted off the same one she told Christina. And Alexis says, I often wonder, am I doing the right thing? And Elizabeth says, she's your daughter, Alexis. And she goes, I just couldn't let her go to jail. And so Elizabeth says, no, I understand that. It would hurt Molly. It would hurt. She goes, I understand that. She says, I believe Christina is sincere uh with her apology. That's what Liz said. She goes, or at least I hope so. Because I was very clear with Christina, you know, on my expectations. And I'm surprised she didn't say, oh, what are they? Alexis didn't even ask, right? She says, so Lucky explained to me, we're just going to leave this alone. I'm going to drop it. So Alexis is walking her out and there said something. And then Alexis is at the elevator, but she turns around. She goes, oh, Elizabeth. So now she's walking closer to Elizabeth. And Rick was getting ready to come back in to speak to Elizabeth for like the third time, right? He spoke to her when he came in, walked up to her. She thought he was coming to see her because, according to Lucas, ever since Lucky left, Rick has come to the hospital every single day to speak to Elizabeth. Um, and she says, Rick, he goes, Elizabeth. She goes, Rick, I do not have time to talk. I am very busy today. He goes, no, I mean, I'm fine with that. You know, I'm actually here to see a potential client. Now, what should have come out of his mouth is, what room is Martin Gray in? Because if you were here to see a client, why did you walk up to her? Elizabeth, he never said what he wanted, right? Because she had kind of cut him off. But anyway, Rick goes, and poor Martin's in so much pain that he did himself. And you could hear Martin, he's saying, it's all Tracy Quartermain's fault. She is the cause of this accident. And you don't see Rick at this point. You just hear Martin laying down all the things. I need you to put pressure on her. And if anybody can, it's you. And Rick is looking at the video, and then he stands up and he walks over to Martin. And Rick says, from this video footage, you're the one who lunged at the note that was in Tracy Quartermain's, or the receipt that was in Tracy Quartermain's hands. Rick said, Tracy Quartermain didn't touch you. She didn't lay a hand on you. And he goes, my fall was direct. She goaded me. And Rick said, if people could win a lawsuit every time Tracy Quartermain goaded them, she would have been broke decades ago. Rick says, this case here is, I don't know, it's a tough one. He says, and for me to even try to entertain this one, I'm gonna need a retainer of $15,000. Martha, 15,000. Rick, that's ridiculous. $15,000. I don't even know if I could pay my deductible, let alone my insurance, let alone $15,000. So Rick looked at him and he put his phone in his pocket. Then in other words, then you can't afford me. And Rick says, well, my suggestion to you is take care of your back. And he turns and he walks out the door. And Martin is sitting there. Now, Elizabeth called Laura and told Laura that Martin was in the hospital. So Laura rushes on over. Laura was with Ava, and Ava gave her an invitation to the exhibit. And she was saying her calendar is so full, she's not going to be able to make it because she gave the tickets to Elizabeth. She said because Lucky is gone. I think Ava told her. I mean, Laura told her. And no, she didn't say because Lucky's gone. She said Elizabeth really appreciates art. And after the ordeal she's been through over the past few months, this will be a great evening for her. And Ava was like, Elizabeth, because she can't stand Elizabeth because she's jealous of Elizabeth and Rick. And she goes, well, sure, Laura, sure. I mean, if Elizabeth would enjoy the tickets, yes, absolutely. Biting her tongue as she's saying it, right? So Laura looks at the artist's latest book that he published. Ava gave it to her. And she just says, look, I will make this exhibit before it leaves. I just can't make it on opening night. So she left it. Then she got a phone call from Liz that Martin's in the hospital. So she almost runs. She gets to the door of his room and she's like, she goes, I got here as soon as I heard. And I'm thinking, Laura, you didn't have to run like that. He's not going in surgery. So he says, oh. She goes, what happened? He goes, I hurt my back because of Tracy Quartermain. And Laura just looked at him because she probably saw the video press conference. And she says, you know what, Martin? You are going to need an overnight bag. Text me a list. I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go home right now. and I'm going to get you some items, your belongings, and I'm going to bring them back because I have a meeting later and I won't be able to do this later. So I'm going to go right now and you text him. So, okay, so no, I love you. Yeah, I love you too, whatever. Right? We have Sunny talking to Natalia. Now, I want to know your opinion. I believe Sunny was not reading the room. He wasn't reading Natalia's body language at all. She was definitely saying, Sunny, what you're asking me, and to me, that is a big ask, that I never speak to my children again. And he goes, no, you can't have, but I'm gonna set you up that you're gonna be in a really nice location, with set you up with money. You're gonna be living the life. Well, my question is, does Belize have a no extradition treaty in place? Because if he's sending her to a place where there's no extradition, so that they don't have to send her back to the US, that's where she should be set up so that her children can go in and out. She just better not come back to the US, right? Because let's face it, the DWI is a very minor offense, right? So it's not like the WSB or the FBI that they're going to want to track her down and bring her home, especially if she's in a place where there's no extradition. So I don't know, because I'm not a criminal. But my whole thing is, you should have set her up so that her children could come visit her anytime she wanted, right? Ice cream truck, y'all. What is this? I say this every time. It's like the ice cream truck picks when I'm recording to slowly go down my street. Anyway, um, but she was just, I don't know, Sonny. And he goes, are you thinking of backing down? She goes, no, no, Sonny. I gave you my word. It's just tough, Sonny. I mean, I don't really want to do it. And he goes, but you don't want to go to jail, do you? She goes, no, I don't. And I'm thinking, Sonny, that's only one of her options. The other option is turning your behind in and she goes free. Hello? So she gives him a key to the safety deposit box that has the portable hard drive in it, right? Now she now is supposed to, Marco has had it pushed back to where she takes the plea deal and meets with the acting DA Turner Monday. And he goes, oh, you'll be long gone. You're gonna leave Friday, right? So Sonny's gonna probably send somebody to go to the bank. But see, here's the messy thing. You're gonna send somebody to go to the bank to open the safety deposit box. Hopefully it's a bank that you have a safety deposit box in. Because then it's no what, so what? I was visiting my own safety deposit box, right? Who's to say she doesn't have a copy? Because that's Natalia. She had that copy that's in the safety deposit box. Who's to say she doesn't have another? I honestly think she's going to stab him in the back. Because at the end of the show, she went to go see Marco. And he goes, you want to discuss the plea deal that ADA Turner has on the table? And she says, no, I'm not coming to you as my lawyer. I'm coming to you as your mother. And Marco's looking at her. I think she's going to tell him. And he's going to talk her out of it. Right? Sonny, he's slipping. He's losing it. Because the best thing he could have ever done was corrupt the hard drive. Like I said, there are things that will scramble a hard drive, depending on what kind of magnetic device you got. You have somebody go in with it, open up that box, scramble the hard drive, leave it right in there. You don't have to take it out. Spinelli or Brick will know, okay, this will do it, or have them do a copy of it. Make sure they put a virus on there, right? So when the ADA plugs it into their system, it just fries their system with the virus. Oops. Yikes. Oops. But they're acting like they just don't. You know what? Sonny needs to let Michael figure out a way out of this one. Because Michael still got it. Boom, boom, boom. Michael could say, wait, what's happening? Okay, she got this, blah, blah, and it's where? Okay, this is what we do. And it will work. So we'll see what happens with the whole Natalia situation. Um, Christina tells Cody that calls him to Ava's office, not Ava's office, Alexis's office, and she says, "Here, I'm going to give you this bit of information. This I want you to make sure and weave it into your conversation with Ava that Lucky is out of the country." She said because Ava's a jealous type. And if she knows Lucky's out of the country, she's going to know that Rick is going to be trying to make inroads to Elizabeth. And so Cody says, but wait a minute. You told me the goal was to break up Rick and Ava for your sister Molly. She says, it is. And so he says, okay, but if Lucky is gone, Rick is going to go after Elizabeth, then there's nothing really for me to do. And Christina says, but here's the thing. Elizabeth doesn't want Rick. Yes, she has history with him, but she doesn't want Rick. So ultimately, Rick will stick with Ava by default while he's still trying to wear Elizabeth down, which is exactly what he would do. And so Cody says, okay. And Ava is no consolation prize. All right, I see. She says, but with you in the mix, Ava will feel she's got another option, right? A better option. So anyway, Cody does go to the gala and the walls are bare because they're getting ready for the exhibit. And Ava gets a phone call from the guy that's supposed to come and hang all the new art for the exhibit. He has a family emergency and she's like, oh, now I don't know what I'm going to do. I have bare walls and an exhibit coming up. This was my contractor that was coming to hang the exhibit. He has a family emergency. Cody says, well, I'm pretty handy with a hammer and a nail. I could help you out. And she looked at him. She says, really? I mean, I don't want to put you out. He goes, look, I would need some direction about what goes where and is it straight. But he goes, I could do it. So she's looking at him like, oh, okay. All right. And as they're talking, he he weaved the conversation around to getting in a fight or something. And she goes, when was the last time you were in a fist fight? He goes, I was in a fist fight. I hit the mayor's son. And Ava says, you hit Lucky Spencer? And he goes, yeah. He says, but that shouldn't be a problem because I'm working on my anger management. I'm getting better. Plus, Lucky Spencer is out of the country. He left. And yeah, Laura didn't tell her. And she kind of looked like, he did what? And she's like, oh, okay. So yeah, it is working because she was already getting jealous when she found out Laura accidentally said, because she saw uh Ava drinking the dragon fruit thing that Rick is pushing on everybody, right? Like he got a share in the stock of the company. And she mentioned, she goes, when I was over to Elizabeth's the other day, and she said whatever day, that Rick had brought that. They were both sipping on that. She goes, and then he had a meeting. He had to leave for a meeting in Beatrice Falls or something like that. Or she may not have even said he had to leave for a meeting. He just said she was hanging out at Elizabeth sipping on that drink and trying to get me to Elizabeth was trying to get her to taste it. But anyway, Ava knows he lied to her because then she flashed back and she goes, how are you back here so soon from Beatrice Corners? And he goes, because I have a fast car. So she's like, you son of a, yeah, there you go. Let's get that going, right? So I think everybody, that is it. That's it. I am going to go to comment corner. I'm going to start my trusty dusty stopwatch and I'm going to go 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. Bottom up. Cody had me holding my breath for a minute. Woof. That's what seeing it this way said. And then P. Merle had a bunch of sweaty emojis, smiley face emojis. And Sarah says, it was the best. Yes, it was, y'all. I was loving yesterday's episode. And then now let's go up to Lori said, love the press conference too. I love Tracy's smile at the end and her little laugh. You know how Tracy goes. She's always laughed that way. And then Uki says, Brooke, Lynn slash Tracy's smile was it. The videotape of Nina Dash Drew will play at the wedding. Well, you mean maybe Cody at the fight where he's blurting out the information. It'll be played at Willow and Drew's wedding. That'll be interesting. How they gonna play it at the wedding? And then seeing it this way says to Uki, I really hope so. Sarah says, Tracy smile spoke 1,000 words. Melody says, now Tracy, stay away from Drew and Ezra, and especially Sidwell. Yeah, see, Tracy, you better have learned your lesson. Melody says to Uki, along with the nanny cam and Cody and Drew's video and the live stream video of Drew blackmailing his family. Oh, don't forget the ketamine video. I mean, there's all kind of videos, really, that Drew's in. Then Melody says to Uki, oh, please, it can be my mom's birthday present. She is 88. That would be cool, right? Hope your mom has good 88th birthday. And then we have Melody says to Sarah, I knew hoped Tracy couldn't say those words without choking. Luke and Dad would be proud. Yeah, she couldn't call Drew no Quartermain, right? And then we have, let me go up to the next one. Sharon says, I think Michael realizes Willow never loved him, and she is constantly reminding Michael she loves Drew and wants to spend her life with Drew. Sharon says Martin is a broken, desperate lawyer. Martin is out for revenge on Tracy. And then I'm going to go on up. Lisa says Michael sees that what Drew has done to Willow. It is sad. Nina still thinks she could talk uh, anyone into helping Willow get her kids back. She will not give up, and Drew will not stop controlling Willow. Willow is acting so much like Nell. She is acting like everyone is plotting to get her. Nobody will help her now. And then we have seen it this way, saying the black, purple, turquoise. If this was real, I'd be praying hard for Michael and his kids, all three of them, because no one knows what crazy Willow will do next. Hope this ends soon. It's nerve-wracking. Yeah, it must be nerve-wracking is what you meant to say. And then I'm going to go to read a portion of your comment, Black Purple Turquoise, what you said to Mark. I'm tuning out any talk of completely sick, twisted, forced Millow. What's Millow? Part how many are we up to now? Reunions between Michael. Oh, people that want Michael and Willow to reunite. I don't. I really don't. Unless evidence strongly points towards a definite forced reconciliation for them. He can save he can save her all he wants, but by then he'll have moved on with Sasha or another woman and will be raising Wiley, Daisy, and Amelia all together, just like he should be, like the wonderful father he is. If she tries to or does abduct Daisy from him and Sasha, then Michael and Willow's reuniting now or at any point in the future should definitely be off the table. Full stop. You're 100% right. Black, purple, turquoise. And then Mark says to Black, purple, turquoise, she's going to end up killing Drew or end up in the crazy house and watch who saves her. I say the latter. I say she's going to spend some time in Shady Brook. She's going to have to. And then seeing it this way says Michael is crying because he sees how much damage Drew has caused her. And then Uki says, Obricht, we are not in, wait, obstruct. We are not in court, counselor. And then let's see. Let me go up to start of my last comment from Rosebud. I am so pissed at Kai. WTF. Are you going to have another year of Drew's BS? No, we better not. I'm telling you, I'm sick of it. Sarah says, I'm totally done with Kai. What a loser. And then I am says, I am so sad Spencer wasn't recast or ex or giving him extra money or extra money wasn't offered. I miss him. Kai is gullible. He is gullible. Melody says, I can't take it. And Rosebud says, especially since Trina has been through through his surgeries, injury, and this is how he repays her by snitching on her. Her dad, granddad were really snitching on her dad and mom. And then the behind kisser he is. Yep, I'm disappointed that Kai gave that information up that fast and that soon. All right, everybody, that is it for Comment Corner. Comment Corner. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.